Once again, good morning. I'm at Berkeley. We want to welcome everyone here today to Emiliana Rose O'Brien's bench dedication on behalf of Emiliana's Hope Foundation. And when Janet and Tim O'Brien approached us about doing some things for Emiliana, we couldn't say yes fast enough, the township. So we're honored to be a very, very small part of this. And at this time, I want to introduce our council members. John Bacchione is here. Thank you, John. And Council President Jim Burns is here as well. And the council, the entire Township Council supported this endeavor and all the endeavors that we do on behalf of the foundation. I want to give a special thanks to our Recreation Department for making sure the area was nice and manicured today and everything was ready for today. And of course, I want to thank Emiliana Rose for the beautiful weather today that we're enjoying during this dedication.
Thank you, Ron.
So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our hosts for the day, Tim and Janet O'Brien.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. This time I'm sending my speech for last because it's going to be happy, though. This is a happy occasion. It's not one of the sad speeches that we usually have. So what we did today is we picked some people that, some people volunteered to say a few words about Emiliana and her memories. And I'd first like to call up Dr. Jeff Zito, Assistant Superintendent of Berkeley Township Schools, but at the time he was H&M Potter's principal where Emiliana went to school.
Thank you all for joining us here today. My name is Jeff and I am Emiliana's principal, and I'll be speaking about one of my experiences with Emiliana. I've been thinking to myself about what I wanted to talk about today and share my experience being Emiliana's principal. The one theme that continually came to my mind as I sat and I wrote was Emiliana was a quiet force. She was a quiet force. This is why I think a bench dedication is so apropos to remember Emiliana. I would like to share a story with you that I don't think I've shared with anyone other than my assistant principal at the time, Mrs. Guinan. I want to start with the fact that this story took place in 2011-2012 school year. Emiliana was in 4th grade. This meant that Emiliana was a 4th grade safety, which I remember a lot of you guys remember being safeties in 4th grade. So it was a special responsibility given to our 4th grade students. So now I'm going to tell you my story. One day, I was greeting the students during morning arrival, and I was walking around the sidewalk saying good morning to the students as they came off their buses. At one point, bus 19 pulled up, and a bunch of students walked off the bus. This particular group of students walked to off the bus and made their beeline right to me. I knew this group had something that they needed to say by the way they were walking and talking to each other. They let me know that a child was being picked on the bus as they were coming to school this morning. I asked them who, and I asked them what happened. They told me a kid was being picked on, but the lady in charge of the bus talked to the kids, and they think it's better now. It was always busy during morning arrival, so I placed that in the back of my mind and figured I would check out the situation later. So later, during the day, I was in the cafeteria, and I saw the child that the group of girls told me that was being picked on. When I saw the child that the group of girls was being picked on, I met with them and I asked if the child was okay, and he just said, just like the other kids said on arrival, the lady in charge of the bus took care of that situation. So I said to the child, who, the bus driver? And he said, no. I thought to myself, well, who else could have handled this? I said, did Mrs. Guinan get on the bus and talk? And again, the child said no. So now I was baffled. I had no idea who he was talking about until he said, that lady, and pointed to a little girl sitting on a bench in the cafeteria. It was Emiliana. At that moment, I realized he was right. The lady in charge of the bus had handled the situation. You see, she was a quiet force. When Mr. and Mrs. O'Brien mentioned that they would be dedicating this bench in Emiliana's name, I thought, how amazingly appropriate. In my mind again, I saw Emiliana sitting on that bench in the cafeteria. You see, many of my students would come off the bus in the morning and they would run right to me to tattle on one of the kids, or they may just have ignored the situation altogether, but not Emiliana. She made sure she just quietly handled that situation because she knew it was the right thing to do. She was a quiet force. In closing, when I think of Emiliana, I think of the following words. Love is patient, Love is kind. It doesn't envy. It doesn't boast. It is not proud. It's not rude. It's not self-seeking or easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think that was definitely she didn't want attention. She just wanted to go on loving life as she did. The next person we have up is Sandy. This is my sister-in-law and Emiliana's aunt.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Emiliana's aunt. I just always think of this beach as a really special place. I have 3 children. I'm sorry. Alan, Christopher, and Elena.
The kids used to come here and play on the beach all the time.
This was just a really special place where my kids spent a lot of time with Emiliana. And we will think of her every time we come to the beach. You know, the kids absolutely loved coming here with her. They really grew up with her, and this was one of their favorite places. When they would come visit Grandma, it was always, can we go with Em and Katie to the beach? And they'd have, you know, go on the swings and have contests. And just to see who could swing the highest, and always we'd come down and catch them in the water, and just having a great time together. So this is a really special place, and we thank the town for, you know, doing this wonderful thing for Em, so we can really just keep her memory alive, because she's a special angel in heaven, and we do all love and miss her so much. So thank you.
Okay, Andrew, you're up next. Andrew and Emiliana were on the bus stop at the same time every morning down the street when my parents used to watch her.
I remember growing up, still growing up, but when I was younger, with Emiliana and being down at the bus all the time and just making small talk, you know, just being kids, the best way to put it. And I remember 4th grade came around, and we were asked by the O'Briens if I was interested in biology, marine biology. So of course, yeah, I was into science when I was little. So we found out that there was this camp up in Sandy Hook, and before Hurricane Sandy hit, and it was called MAST. And so it was marine science, technology. I was all in for it. And so we organized, it was about a 1-week thing, about a week. And we organized driving arrangements. And so me and Emiliana, just us, would go up to the camp, and we swap drivers between my mom driving, or whether it was Janet driving, or whether it was John or his wife, and we would always drive up, and I just remember having such a great time up there and spend a lot of time with Emiliana. And there was this one particular story of one night my parents came to pick me up, and I was just drenched, and they were like, "Why are you drenched?" And I jumped in the water. And why did you jump in the water? Well, I fell. I didn't really fall. I just wanted to go dive in the water. We were looking for a plankton, and I remember I actually did slip a little bit, but I just dove in after that. And I remember after I dove in, I just looked up, and I was just looking for Emiliana because I knew she'd be laughing at me. And so I looked to the shore, and I see her staring at me, and she just gave me the, "Oh Lord, like, what is this kid doing?" And that was a lot of our relationship. It was just me being goofy and her just being a good friend and, you know, supporting me through what I was doing, whether it was stupid or not stupid. I was playing football outside, I think, one of the first days, and I was playing with a bunch of older kids. So they only threw the ball to me like 3 times, because who wants to play football with like a 9-year-old? So, whatever, I got the ball, and I just caught it the wrong way, and I stubbed my pinky for the first time I stubbed anything. And so I remember being inside, and they had to take me inside, and they gave me a Band-Aid, because I was like, I need a Band-Aid, I didn't know what to do. So I sat inside, and finally later on we were watching like this like parody movie about bags. and the environment, how a bag may start out in your house, but it finally ends up in the ocean. You know, it's very harmful to animals. And after we had made our plankton traps, we sat down and watched this movie, and I looked across the table to see Emiliana, and she was just staring at me, and she was just giving the same face from before, like, oh my god, what are you doing? Like, but I can definitely say that she was easily one of the best people I had ever met in my life, and I truly regret not keeping the same relationship that I had with her when I was younger to when I was older. Through BTS, I didn't see her that much. She wasn't at the bus stop anymore, and so our relationship kind of, not dissolved, but I was still friends with her. I just didn't talk to her that much, and I definitely regret that. And she was a wonderful person, and she deserves to be remembered that way, and I most definitely do, and I hope everyone here does. I know you all do. But I think that the most important part of her was that she just donated her time so well and dispersed it so evenly throughout people who needed it. Whether it was with me at the bus stop, or I remember in H&M Potter we would go to like a counseling program, not for us, but for us to help other people. We were chosen by people like Dr. Zito, wherever he is, there you are. And we would go to Mr. Miller every Wednesday with a little notepad and a pencil, and we would talk about ways to help kids that needed it. And personally, I loved it because, you know, I love to help people. I mean, when I'm not making jokes, of course, but I love to help people, and so did she, and that was wonderful. And I would donate my time, and she would donate her time, but she really kept up with it because that's just who she was. All throughout, even through 7th grade, even through her time in school, I would see her in the hallways, and she would always be talking to somebody who needed it, whether it was somebody who had a disability mentally or physically. She was always there for them, and she's always there, and she is always still there for me. And I just want everybody to remember her that way because that's truly how she was, and the bench is definitely a nice thing, and it's in loving memory, most definitely in loving memory.
I have to say, Andrew is one of our members of the junior board of the foundation, as of most of the children that you've seen here today. Children, young men and women. I remember them when they were little. So to me, they will always be my kids, and I've always told them that the work that they are doing, helping us do for those in need, and they are carrying on Emiliana's mission. And they are the big brothers and sisters to Caitlin and Connor because they knew her in a way that me and Tim didn't. They spent most of their days with her, so I thank you all for continuing to support us and be a part of our family. And now, Ms. P., who is guidance counselor at BTES.
Hi, Terry Pascoletto. I was the guidance counselor for the 5-6 school, so that means that the kids came in 5th grade and I didn't know them, except Emiliana and Miss Emily, who brought me a little girl, and they're like, okay, Mrs. P., this is one of yours, and we're going to stay here, and we're going to help her. So throughout 5th and 6th grade, they took care of this girl, and that truly has been expressed by everybody, how wonderful and quietly strong Emiliana was. Not saying she was quiet, not at all, not at all. But we're here to celebrate her legacy, and her legacy part is bringing us all together. The O'Briens continue to be part of my life. Spray tan, just saying. I am pleased and honored to be part of this experience with you, everybody here. And I just want to say that it's been wonderful watching all of you grow up and continuing to stay together, in part due to Emiliana's legacy. So thank you.
So hearing everybody talk today actually brought around memories that I had actually forgotten about. The things that she had told me in school, but a lot of stuff she didn't tell me. So I now rely on my junior board to give me an Emily to tell me all the things that Em used to do in school that I had no clue. Some I was proud of, some I weren't, but hey, it is what it is. She was a typical teenager. But thank you everybody, because hearing the memories, and we're going to read the memories later on, it just is a reminder of that she still lives on in everybody's heart. She watches over each and every one of us. And I hope you all remember that, and I pray for that. I always say, you know, I'm your mom, and you have to do what I say. Still your mom. This beach holds many special memories for our family. Anytime we just needed to get out of the house, this is where we would come. The girls hated riding waves, so this was a great place for them to wade in the water, collect shells, lay in the sand, and play on the jungle gym and swing. Those kids would be on that swing and we'd have to bribe them to get off. We came here to watch the fireworks for 4th of July, and I would take off from work during the summer and spend the day with the girls. And when the doctor asked me and Em to find our peaceful place to calm our anxiety in the hospital, this was the place we both thought of, even though we didn't know it until after the exercise. Now, we look forward to Connor running around enjoying this park to make even more special memories. As you can tell, he cares nothing about the bench. He'd rather go up and down the slide all day. Emiliana loved life. She loved the beach, loved being a big sister, and loved her friends and family with her whole heart. She would help anyone, even a complete stranger. A student a few years ago told me a story about how Em helped her. She said they didn't know each other, but she was being bullied in school and was having a particularly bad day. Em saw her in the hallway, walked over to her, and said something to make her smile. That one act of kindness changed that girl's outlook on that day. And she remembered how kind Em was several years later and how it made her feel. Another example is in kindergarten. I remember Ms. Pacelli saying to us during conferences, that girl has so much patience, she's either going to be a nurse or a teacher, because she took a girl under her wing and without even being asked, sat there and helped teach her and spent the time with her that the little girl needed just to catch up. We just wish more of you could have known her. We want to share a special memory just from Em's doctor, who couldn't be here today. But we think that this memory sums her up pretty well, as everybody else's did. She said, I remember talking to all of you in clinic, and the way that Em would throw in a sarcastic or offhand comment to diffuse the room when she could tell you were getting worried. She also would do an eye roll, just to annoy us. I always felt like she was more focused on her family than being okay than anything else. It was the kind, loving big sister and daughter behavior that made her kindness just shine. And so my nickname for Em has always been my sunshine, because it was always us together and she always made my day brighter. The words thank you just don't seem adequate enough to describe our gratitude to our families, our friends, the parents, children, teachers, and those we had met along the way. The township officials, departments, especially parks and beaches and buildings and grounds, for always supporting our family. The gold ribbons that you see every September is building and grounds. They paint them every September and put them up for us. When we met with Mayor Amato last year to discuss placing the bench here, we never expected the generosity that we received. The bench in this area are just more beautiful than we could have imagined, and we know that our angel is smiling down on us. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts to the many people that helped bring this day all together, and it's just beautiful. We are fortunate to live in such a loving and supporting community. And a special thank you to Ian and Joe today, who set all this up for us. I appreciate that. We hope that you remember Emiliana with a smile and choose to honor her in your everyday lives. Show encouragement to those that need it, bring a smile to someone's face, and display kindness to everyone around you. You never know what is behind someone's smile or frown, but that one act of kindness, one kind word, one smile can brighten someone's day. So thank you very much. If you haven't already, you can write down a memory and put it or just like the way you came from. Is that yours then?
No. Honey, would you get that paper under there?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We would like to get a group picture behind the bench. So if we can get everybody to come on up behind the bench.